Hi, today I would like to talk about food sensitivities and allergies. We'll have a look at what they are, how they work, and what you can do to find out if you have them and how if they are impacting your symptoms. So stay tuned. My name is Evelyn and I'm a certified functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner. I live in the Findhorn community in the northeast of Scotland. And I love educating people with down-to-earth information about their health, about digestion and the gut, so that they can feel more empowered and equipped to find the right solutions. Okay, so let's talk about food sensitivities. I've noticed that there's a big confusion in the terminology around this. So there's talk about allergies, sensitivities, intolerances, and the terms are used, interchangeably almost. So for me, an allergy is something that happens suddenly with quite strong symptoms and can often have swelling involved, and including anaphylactic shock. So this is the well-known allergy to peanuts, for instance. So people eat it and quite immediately they get a strong reaction. A sensitivity is also an immune reaction, but can take several hours or even several days to give you symptoms. So it might be hard to put your finger on the relationship with what you were eating and the reaction and the symptoms you have, especially if it's a food that you're eating every day, then it's really hard to find out if that's something you're sensitive to. And then intolerance is a term that's a bit of a catch-all, and I'll talk more into that later. I always like to compare the immune system and how it works with antibodies like the country's defense system. Like a country has an army, it has a navy, it has marines, special forces, and depending on the circumstances, they send different troops to the places where something needs to happen. The same is with the immune system and foods. So there's different systems. There's IG, and IG stands for immunoglobulin, IgG, IgE, IgD, IgM, and IgA. So there's different kind of troops that the body sends to the location where, the immune system thinks it needs to be active. Now, an allergy is an IgE reaction, and let's go back to that slide. So that's this one. That's that allergy. So as I said, those are the strong reactions. It can be both swelling, difficulty breathing, low blood pressure, and it can actually be life-threatening. Most common allergy foods are peanuts, of course, shellfish, we know, whitefish, eggs, nuts, and also wheat. And sometimes, young children have this, but it can also start at any point in life. Sensitivities have the different troops coming into action. So that's IgA, IgG, or IgM. And as I said, they can manifest a few hours after you've eaten something. So it's not as acute as an allergy, but it can also be a few days even, or a day or a few days afterwards. And we see a lot of different symptoms and a lot of different body parts involved. You see fatigue, brain fog, and difficulty concentrating. There's joint pain, headaches, migraines, eczema, rashes, and all kinds of skin irritations, stomach aches, acid reflux is one, bloating, constipation and diarrhea, unexplained weight gain or weight loss, and also behavioral issues. We mainly see that in children, but also in adults. So the most common food sensitivities are gluten, dairy, soya, all tree nuts, corn, eggs, and shellfish. Intolerances are a bit of a catch-all term. It basically means you have a reaction to a food. So that can be because you can't break the food down, or you have missed the enzymes to break it down. Lactose intolerance is a good example of that. You miss the lactase, the enzyme to break down the lactose in milk, and you can't. And that results in symptoms like diarrhea and stomach pain and gas. There's also histamine reactions to food, like bloating, because the wrong bacteria, or you have the wrong bacteria and they produce gas, or you have bacteria in the wrong place, like in the small intestine or instead of the large intestine, and that can give you symptoms, even within a few hours after you've eaten something, or even faster. You can react to certain carbohydrates, the so-called FODMAPs, and or many other reactions to lectins, oxalates, glutamates. This is not always an immune system thing. Sometimes it's more of a microbiome thing. So for food sensitivity, there is some testing available. I've seen some really cheap ones, but I'm not convinced those are very good. Usually, food sensitivity tests are around £100. You see an example here. There are some foods marked red. So that's the foods you have a strong immune reaction to. And then there's some borderline ones in yellow, and then the normal foods. These tests can be helpful if you're not sure if you're reacting to foods, and you can see whether that's the case or not. But the results are not always conclusive. You could also have like the intolerance type reactions or the allergy type reactions. And I've seen people who really don't do well with, let's say, gluten or wheat, and it doesn't come up in their test. So the best way to find out whether you're sensitive or reacting to a food is to actually eliminate them for some time and see how you do, and see if you do better, and then reintroduce them. So how can you find out about allergies, sensitivities, and intolerances? Well, the first question is if your symptoms are sudden and severe, you will probably already done that, but you have to see a doctor and they will do testing for you. The testing the doctor does, though, is for allergies. So if you don't have allergies but sensitivities, you're sure that you're reacting, but then you have to test with the doctor and nothing comes back and they say it's all normal. So have to keep that in the back of your mind, that it could be a sensitivity and the doctor probably didn't test for that. If your symptoms are bloating and gas right after a meal, you could try enzymes, like digestive enzymes, to see if they help break down the foods better, so you are better able to digest and absorb them. And you could also try to do a FODMAP type diet for some time, so leave out certain carbohydrates. There are lists on the internet, and you can always ask me in the comments and I can help you further. If you have bloating and brain fatigue and arthritis and joint pain and skin issues and these things, it's a good idea to start eliminating the foods where most people are sensitive to and getting reactions from. And those are gluten, dairy, sugar, and soya. You do this for 4 to 6 weeks, and you have to do it strictly. So it's not like you take just a bit of these and then you will have just a bit of symptoms. You really need to try it out strictly. So after you've done that, you'll try to see if you have been doing better. It's a good idea to journal in this time, so write down what you eat and write down your symptoms. And then after this, you do a slow reintroduction, which means you don't reintroduce them all at the same time. You do one at a time, and you take your time in between them. So you do one for 3 days, and then another one for 3 days, etc. This whole thing about food sensitivities and allergies can be quite confusing. And so if you need help with this and want to get to the bottom of it, you can book a free 30-minute call with me. And I can hear a bit more and share with you how I work, and we can decide if we want to work together. There's also an anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle course coming up. I'm recording this in July 2021, and in September the course will be up for booking, and I'll share a link in the comments. During this course, we will take out step by step sugar, gluten, dairy, and soya. We'll give you a lot of support. There will be recipes and encouragement. There will be a group supporting each other. So it's a great course if you want to try out if this makes a difference for your inflammatory symptoms. If you want to know more about me, I have a Facebook group that's quite active, and I would love to see you there. The link is in the comments. I do these talks on Zoom. You can join the talks if you want. I have these recordings on YouTube. That's why you're watching them probably. And you can subscribe there. You can keep an eye out for my group programs. As I said, I have one coming up in September. And consider working with me one-on-one. You can book a free exploratory call. I hope this was helpful for you. And see you in the next video or on the call. Bye now.